All right, so this is the tutorial for brief exercise, chapter 3, brief exercise number 11. And we are asked to make a trial balance with the given information for the Sheraton Company. So in the Wiley Plus homework, they list out all of the accounts at the top. So I already wrote this out just to help. Basically, they list all the accounts and the current balance in those accounts. The nice thing about a trial balance sheet is everything's kind of already been figured out as far as figuring out which accounts are debited, which ones are credited. All the information is just given to us, and we simply need to list it in a trial balance sheet and place the current balances in the appropriate column. Now, in the homework, you need to identify and select which accounts will go on the far left column. The rule for doing a trial balance sheet is to list the accounts in the order from the ledger. So I've already done that to save a little bit of time. I just went down the line and listed the accounts. Also, a good thing to note is that the trial balance is at a given time. So the information that I was given on my homework problem was June 30th, 2017. So you want to make sure that you write in the appropriate date. This is not a period, it is a given time. And basically what the trial balance is going to do for us is it's going to prove the equation that debits equal credits. This is basically the last thing that you do in this whole accounting process, and you're just verifying all of the work that's already been done. So now we just need to figure out which balances for which accounts go into the debit and the credit column. So let's start at the top. We have accounts payable. Now we have this nice sheet. I actually took a screenshot and then printed it out from the lecture. But it shows us that each account and whether the debit or credit means an increase or a decrease. And it also shows us which side will have the normal balance. And the ledger balances that were given, these are normal balances. So we know that, okay, accounts payable, well, that's a liability. So if we look back at this sheet, we see that liabilities, the normal balance is going to be in the credit column. So we come back over and we're going to write the current balance for accounts payable in the credit column. This would be the correct place to record the accounts payable balance. Okay, so cash. We can look back at the same document. Cash is an asset, and we see that the normal balance is on the debit side. So we come back over here and we're going to write our cash amount in the debit column. So you can continue. I used this sheet to help me with the homework, but you know, it's good to start memorizing which sides of the equation it's good to memorize the normal balance, which side the normal balance falls on each of the accounts. Another good way to remember where the normal balance is where the increased amount goes for that account. So for example, assets. You list an increase in assets on the debit side, so that means it's the normal balance side. For liabilities, you list the increase in liabilities on the credit side, so that becomes the normal balance side. So that's just a good way to remember that. So we'll keep going down the line. Common stock. So common stock, the normal balance falls on the credit side. So we will write in that, and then dividends. Now dividends is on the right side of the equation, but it has the same rules to follow as the assets account. So basically the correct side is the debit side. Sorry, not the correct, the normal. The normal balance is going to fall on the debit side. So we'll write in our dividends. Equipment is also an asset, so that's going to go on the debit side. Service revenue, so anything that's revenue, is going to come over to our credit side because the normal balance falls in the credit column. So we have our service revenue, and then our accounts receivable. This is an asset, money that will be paid to us. So this goes in our debit column. And then salary and wages expenses. Anything that is an expense is going to have a normal balance in the debit column. So we'll write that in the debit column. And rent expense, same rules for this account. It's an expense, therefore it goes in the debit column. Now you can see that wasn't too difficult. We listed the balances in the appropriate columns. So now all we need to do is add up each side to make sure that they equal one another. So I'm just going to show you that here on the calculator so you can double check with me. I'm just going to go down the debit and add these all together. Okay, so I got $28,250 for the debit side. Now let's add up our credits. All right, and we got the same thing. And if you get the same thing on both sides, then you know that you filled out your trial balance sheet correctly because we have all of our debits listed, all of our credits listed, and when we add up each side, they are equal. And that is how you prepare a trial balance.